Hey everybody, how's it going? Good morning or hi whenever you watch this. So this is my room actually. I'm staying with my aunt and uncle temporarily. So this is kind of where I've been located. You got all this stuff like just ridiculous. But anyway, so let's get into Shia LaBeouf's type. I did type him after that Saturday video, I guess. I did not go all the way to 512. Well, actually, I did initially, but I decided to narrow back down because I wanted to basically try to be a little bit more rigorous. And I'll just talk through a little bit of how I went about that. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys the type. So spoilers for anyone who doesn't know the type, and then just talk to you about how my process went. All right, so this is a tool. I did not make this tool. This was actually made by Felix. So I could share my template with you if you'd like. It's a really good tool. But anyway, so his Shia LaBeouf's type officially is audio, or masculine, sensory, feminine, DE, SEFI, consume, play, sleep, blast. So he's energy dom as well. Blast last. And so, and basically I got him 80% hit out of my guesses. I got 80% right in terms of my total guesses, and then out of my hard guesses, or really the guesses where I basically say these are where his life problems are coming from, I got 67%. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. Initially, I went all the way to, I think, audio, sleep last, ESFP, which probably would have gotten my percentages way higher. So maybe I should have trusted my gut on that. But I really narrowed down last night, saying, okay, which one of these can I actually prove? So starting with this one, so anything in bold is my hard guesses, and anything that's not in bold are my soft guesses. So this is a soft guess, observer. I did not see him necessarily worried about things per se, but I did see a lot of double deciding, right? So there's several interviews where he basically makes fun of himself but then praises himself, and then he makes fun of others but then he praises others, like in the same sentence, right? So there's an example. There's one interview I really like he had with John Berthal called Real Ones, where he's talking about Mickey Rourke. So Mickey Rourke is an actor. He was out of the game for about 12 years, and then he came back into acting for The Wrestler, I think is the movie's name. And so Shia LaBeouf is talking about how, I was watching all his interviews, and he basically praises Mickey Rourke for being inspiring, for coming back into the acting game, but then he not makes fun of him, but he criticizes Mickey Rourke, saying, oh, he looks really insecure, he looks like a little boy, criticizing, I think it was Tom Hardy or someone like that. Or no, it was Tom Cruise, sorry. So, and for me, based on the definition of deciders, I feel like deciders would either get too scared to do something like that calmly, or they would take it way too seriously, almost like what was that guy's name? The James Bond character. I forgot the actor's name. But who takes it way too seriously when there's criticism especially on air in an interview. So I saw a lot of double deciding in Shia LaBeouf, but because I couldn't prove the demon, NI or SI or whatever, I kept it as a soft guess. So just saying, this is more of a casual observation. If we were in a consulting service, this would be me just kind of passively saying, oh yeah, maybe I'm seeing this, So I'm trying to make sure that it's something I could probably get some evidence for, but I don't have clear proof. The other soft guess was sensing, because I did see him describe a lot of his situations in a very clear way. So Dave and Shan often talk about how if you are a sensor, when you talk and tell stories, people would be able to paint a picture using your words, right? It's that clear. And I think with Shia LaBeouf, especially in the interview he had with Jimmy Fallon, where he's describing his arrest. There's this very, like, I think it's like 30 million views or something crazy like that, or 23 million views of him describing how he got arrested for like 7 minutes straight. You know, he's very, very descriptive. And so I think, but the issue is that I wasn't able to prove intuition, demon intuition. I mean, I could argue that maybe his beliefs on God now are maybe his demon intuition, but it was so vague for me. It was not clear for me to see where his demon intuition was. So I kept this as a soft guess. So again, if we were in consulting services, this would be me being casual and saying, oh yeah, maybe I'm seeing this, you know, I'm noticing this and that or whatever. Now, where the hard guesses are, so I'm going to talk about the ones I got right first, and then I'll talk about the one that I got off. So the one I got right is the DI and the play. So let's start with the DI. Savior DI. So I saw this in a number of different places, both in as a Savior DI and as a Demon DE. So DI is about me stories. They call it being a selfish ass, right? Not worrying about other people and things like that. I probably should pull up the definition, but DI, his whole life struggle kind of comes from, and yeah, this in the consulting services would be me talking about life struggles. So his life struggles come from, I mean, it's self-described, but come from him not taking other people into account when he does things, both for good and for bad, right? So I think especially with the masculine FI, he's very self-amusing, right? If you could see, for example, on the Hot Ones, towards the end of the interview, it's like he's putting milk all over his face and he's spilling it everywhere, not really worried about who has to clean up after him, right? For example, that's like a really mild example. But on a more serious example is really just kind of where his life problems came from in terms of emotionally. I don't want to say he was emotionally unstable. Maybe that's the word for it. But, you know, kind of like with his abuse, like in terms of like alcoholism, I think he hit his wife. I think that's something that happened at one point. And all of that was stemming from him. He describes it as him trying to just be happy in life or follow his feelings in life. And it kind of led to this instability of him kind of harming the people around him. And so for me with DI, oh, and then I think, but on a more positive note, I'll say this briefly, you know, now that he's kind of has a more inspiring story to tell, his me stories, it is important for him to share his me stories. And he's very, very open about his me stories, for, you know, both the good and the bad. So the fact that he's not a desperate idiot like the Savior DEs sometimes are, you know, I think it really kind of shows where his Savior DI comes from. And then with the Demon DE, so one thing about DE, I kind of described kind of the demon part of him not noticing the tribe. But also a serious life problem he has is he talks about how he didn't feel deserving of love and connection with other people, especially once he started, you know, losing friends and family because of his kind of destructive lifestyle. So that's kind of something that, how would I describe it? Savior DE, at least according to Tony Robbins, because Tony Robbins is the source of the human needs, Tony Robbins describes DE, or what David Chan called DE, as love and connection. It's the human need for love and connection. And so the fact that Shia LaBeouf is still struggling to accept love and connection in his life kind of tells me that he might be missing some DE in his life. At least the Tony Robbins version of DE, let's say. So that's kind of where I got that from. And again, I would say if I were consulting you, this would be something I would like bold, right? That's why I bold it, and be like, look, like you need to really pay attention to this. This is a red flag. Like you need to like course correct, right? The next is the play. And this is where I related to him the most. The play, basically him getting into trouble again and again, crashing and burning again and again. And the moment he has a chance to course correct, he just basically tries to get back into doing the same case. I don't know why he does that. Um, I don't know why I do that, but play is very much defined as, I think in the openings doc that Dave and Shane have, they describe it as learning with others, pinging off of others, and not slowing down and really reflecting. So play for him is, I mean, yes, him crashing and burning so much, but then also he describes this in the Real Ones interview. He talks about how he never cultivated silence in his life. Silence in order to reflect and to stop chasing really glory, fame, or whatever else. He needed to stop chasing that. And but because he was so addicted to getting back into acting and getting back into finding his next job, he never really cultivated that silence in order to reflect. So, both for him and for me, that savior play is kind of messing him up. And so that's where I would also bold it, and say, hey, you really might want to take a look at that and course correct. Now, this last one, and then I gotta go. This last one with the extrovert and the introvert, I got this one wrong. So I thought he was an extrovert, because David Shan described extroversion as, in one place, as having play and blast in the top three, but whenever there's a problem in life, really kind of going to the outside world to solve his problems or solve their problems. And I thought Shia LaBeouf's constant trying to make a movie whenever he had a problem in his life, I thought that was extroversion. I thought that was him just trying to escape his inner world and go out and make more movies and kind of try and deal with his problems that way. So I thought he was extroversion, so I got that wrong. I might need to be a little bit more careful because I've done that a lot in the past, confusing blast lasts with extroverts, because they do get pretty social. So I don't know exactly how to tell that he's an introvert. I didn't really see any classical introverted signs from him. He seems pretty extroverted to me. So if anyone has feedback on that, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. But moral of the story is, that's I kind of shared that, I'm going to basically be doing this every week. This is how I want to do my consulting services. Just kind of going, deep diving into those major problems in life. And kind of also majorly, noticing kind of just more casual patterns, right? Of, hey, I'm noticing this, but I can't exactly prove it, but it might be moving in this direction. So with Shia LaBeouf, I would say overall, I think he's a really great guy. I think he definitely his hero's journey is really remarkable. And his type, I think he is dealing with his type in an interesting way. I don't know exactly how he's dealing with his introversion. Maybe he's forcing himself to be so extroverted. I don't know. But I definitely think with the DI, he's learning how to cultivate love in his life, and with the play, he's learning how to cultivate silence in his life. And I think those are the kind of the two main takeaways. So that's about it. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm gonna start typing the next person, and I will see you on Saturday. Take care.